Welcome to the channel. Join me today when I will be replacing the front wheel bearings on my year 2000 Honda CB600FS Hornet with some new wheel bearings from All Balls Racing. First of all, I'm just going to break through the axle and pinch bolts while the front end is still on the ground. Remove the brake calipers to the side and secure the caliper bodies to the frame using some zip ties to avoid any stress on the brake lines. Before lifting the front end up onto the paddock stand, I only have a fairly cheap front paddock stand, and the bike had a little wobble which made me worry about the security of the bike whilst on both paddock stands together. So as you can see here, I took a couple of precautionary measures to make sure the bike was secure and stable, with the aid of a ratchet strap and also a car trolley jack as a fail-safe measure before removing the front wheel. Now we have the front wheel removed, we can place it down on a softish surface. I'm just using a piece of plywood sheet that I have, or you could place a couple of pieces of wood under your tyre to protect your disc from getting damaged on the ground. With that done, now I just use a couple of flat-headed screwdrivers to pop the old dust seal out. Then give the inside recess a good clean, making sure it is free of any dirt or corrosion before selecting the correct size head for the bearing puller tool. Now the bearing puller kit that I have is one of the more budget friendly ones. I think it cost around £35-ish, and the quality does show. You get what you pay for, but it did what I needed it to do on this occasion. As you can see, with the first attempt the tool slipped out, so after setting up the puller again, I decided to add some heat to the equation to try and expand the material around the wheel towards the outside of the bearing. With several fairly small and gentle pulls, the bearing popped out. Then I can remove the internal spacer, give it all a good wipe down and flip the wheel over to repeat the process of removing the other bearing. Again, I had a little go with just the puller tool, but that didn't do much alone. So again, time to add some heat and then give it some firm pulls until it pops out. Once the old ones are out and everything is nice and clean, now is a good time to inspect your wheel for any cracks or damage before we move on to installing new bearings in the wheel. I start off by carefully placing the new bearing in, making sure that it is as parallel as possible before giving it some very gentle taps with the hammer. Once I get the new bearing going and it's in parallel, I then use one of the old bearings on top and use that to hammer the new bearing in. This is to try and avoid any damage to the new one. Be sure to stop frequently and have a good look around the bearing, making sure that it is going in evenly. If it is going in further on one side than it is on another, and you manage to catch the mistake early enough, it is possible to correct the issue by applying some more taps on the area that it is higher until the full circumference of the bearing becomes even again. Otherwise, if it goes in too far and or crooked, then you will have to pull the bearing out and start again, which is not ideal and may possibly result in damaging the new bearing, so take your time. Going in a circular motion to seat the bearing in its housing before gradually increasing the force of the hammer taps until the bearing has bottomed out and it is fully seated. Now, the only problem with using the old bearing to drive the new one in is obviously it is the exact size of the hole, and wheel bearings use what's called as a friction fit to be held in securely. So in order to remove the old bearing, you will have to use the puller to get it back out again. Then I install the new dust seal which comes with the kit. I'm not sure if this step is required, but I have just added a small amount of moly grease to the underside of the new dust seal to catch any dirt and hopefully further waterproof the actual bearing, in the hopes of further increasing the life of the bearing. Installing the dust seal is similar to the bearing, so I start off by carefully placing it in and pressing firmly with my fingers and thumbs in an evenly circular fashion, then using the hammer to drive it fully home. Now we can flip the wheel over, reinsert the spacer and drive the second bearing in the same way as we did the first one. Along with the dust seal, once you're happy that the bearing is fully seated. And that's the front wheel bearings done. Now I'm just going to reattach the front mudguard to the bike, as this was off beforehand as I've just repainted it, before reinstalling the front wheel, then the brake calipers, and then torque everything back down to spec. While I'm doing that, I would just like to say a massive thank you to the people who have already subscribed to the channel. We've had a few new subscribers lately, so thank you for joining us. If you aren't subscribed and you have enjoyed the video, found it informative or entertaining, please do consider giving it a like and clicking that subscribe button, along with that bell icon to be notified of any future releases. I'm constantly trying to improve on the channel behind the scenes and make the videos of better quality where I can, whether that's with audio and vision software or hardware and editing, which all costs money, and I'm not currently monetized off YouTube, as I haven't yet met the target required, so any adverts you see are not mine. I love working on bikes and I love making the videos for you guys, so it would be a dream for me to be able to turn this hobby into a full-time job. So every like, comment and subscribe really does help a small channel like this, and if you could share the channel or a video with some friends that you think may enjoy the content, that would be amazing. I'm currently looking into the possibility of trying to do some giveaways on the channel as well, and maybe get some merch together, so stay tuned, keep a close eye out for any updates on that. If you have any comments or suggestions, please do drop a comment below. I will always do my best to reply to people as soon as I can. If you've made it this far of me rambling, a massive thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Ride safe and see you on the next video soon.